Well, from America's election headquarters, 4 questions for the next 4 years, our segment that gives you a chance to ask White House candidates about issues that most concern you. Today, I'm joined by Republican candidate, former New York Governor George Pataki. Great to have you, Governor.
Great being on with you, Jenna.
Our first 4-question guest to be on set, so we appreciate you coming in.
Happy to be here.
We've had an interesting few hours of news. Just during our first hour of happening now, Donald Trump was holding a news conference, and he had something interesting to say about voters. I want to just play that sound.
I've had a great relationship with the Hispanics. I have working for me thousands right now, thousands of Hispanics. I've had tens of thousands of people over the years working for me. I'm a job machine. I've had a great relationship with the workers. I've had a great relationship with jobs, and I've had an amazing relationship with the Hispanics. And I predict that I'm going to win the Hispanic vote.
You're a governor from a very blue state, 3-term governor at that, one of the highest Hispanic populations in the country, New York State. What's your response to Donald Trump?
It's just more of the same. It's this, I'm great, and I actually give you a job. I hire you, so you should vote for me because I hire you. Here's the guy who called Mexicans rapists and thugs. Not some of them. He said Mexicans, and he expects to do well in the Latino vote. That's not how you do it.
How do you do it?
You do it by having respect for a community, the Latino community, just as you do for every single community. New York is a very ethnic state, and I won it by over 1 million votes as a conservative Republican. And I carried the Dominican and Puerto Rican communities. And I did it by going there, showing that my policies were important to them. Like we changed crime from top to bottom, took us from the most dangerous to the safest state. And I went to their communities and talked about how they were going to be safer. We did charter schools. I went to the communities and said, you're going to have the option to have your child go to a better public school. And then we created hundreds of thousands of jobs, and people wanted jobs. So it's showing respect and attention, but not changing your philosophy.
One of the questions we're asking a lot of the candidates, and it comes up a lot from our viewers, of course, as well, whoever wins the nomination is going to have to face what it looks like right now to be Hillary Clinton,
right.
Senator from New York State.
That's right.
So she has that in her records as far as being able to win in a diverse state as well. What do you think is key to beat Hillary Clinton, and why do you think you would be the one to do it?
I honestly don't think I would have that difficult. I hate to sound like Donald Trump, but I honestly think I would beat Hillary Clinton because she won in this state, but not because of connection to the people. There are 3 million more Democrats. So a Democrat running starts off with a 3 million vote advantage. But she doesn't have an agenda going forward. Her agenda is that Republicans are anti the middle class. She can't say that about me. The Republicans are anti-women. They're going to take away a woman's right to choose. She can't say that about me. We're anti-immigrants. She can't say that about me. I have a positive agenda that can bring the American people together, and I can be dismissive of her attacks, which she will use against any other Republican nominee.
Jerry had a few questions about your policy, and he wrote us, and he said, other than the financial crisis and really focusing on the financial crisis when it comes to our economy, what do you think are problems number 2 or number 3 in the country, and how would you fix those issues?
I think the biggest problem, setting aside national security, and I just saw your report on the possibility the plane had a bomb on it, and we have to destroy ISIS. But setting aside foreign policy, we have to shrink the size and the power of the federal government. It is too big, too expensive, too intrusive. I would reduce the size of the federal workforce by at least 12%. I would throw out a corrupt tax code, shrink the federal government, grow the private sector economy. It's exactly what I did in New York State.
It's interesting. We had a question about governors. And, of course, we've seen over the last week or so a lot of governors like or former or current Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, John Kasich really talk about their records as governor and say, hey, I'm better than these senators or these others because I've actually run a state. But we had an interesting question come in from TJ, really more of a comment. He said that you were a good governor, but he doesn't think that you have the wherewithal to be president, that you're not presidential material. What would you say to TJ?
I'd say he doesn't know me. Not only, you mentioned the other governors, none of them come close to doing what I did in New York. I cut taxes by more than the other 49 states combined, more than any candidate on either stage during these debates. I reduced the size of the state government by over 15%, and I did it in a deep blue state with a state assembly that had 103 Democrats and 47 Republicans. All the other Republican governors had Republican legislatures. I wish I had had a Republican legislature for one day. We could have even done more. But I'm proud of what I was able to do. And I know I can bring people together, lead a large, complex government, and not just lead it, but change it fundamentally. And that's what we have to do.
Why now are you choosing to run for president? I was taking a look at your record. You've run for a lot of different offices, and quite frankly, you've won any office that you've sought. But of a lot of our viewers, whether it's Michael or Ray or Eddie, they want to know why you want the job.
You know, because I believe in this country. I think this is one of the greatest, most unique country the world has ever seen. And it's because of the system of government, limited government, where power rests with the people and not with the political elite. But what we've seen over the last 8 years is Washington believing that they can tell us how to live our lives. Politicians trying to dictate every element of our life, from how we get our health care to what we can do in our employment. And it has got to stop. So I don't think there's ever been a need to change Washington more than there is today. I think the American people need to fall in love with America and believe in this country again. And I know I have the ability to do that.
Let's go back to your record again, because you've run for a lot of different offices successfully now.
Right.
We all know where the polls are at this point.
Right.
What's your strategy? How do you get up in those polls and become more of a contender?
You know, I think, first of all, just hard work. Small groups. I'm going to New Hampshire again on Thursday, and it's retail politics, which I've always loved and I think been pretty good at. It's having a different message. I believe in limited government in Washington, not just limiting government economically, but socially, giving the power back to the states where they can make the decision, the 10th Amendment, the states and the people. I believe Republicans should embrace science. You know, I have no qualms. I'm walking down the street to get here. It's 72 degrees in November. Human activity has made the earth warmer. That doesn't mean I embrace the Obama-Hillary big government solution to climate change, but I embrace Republicans encouraging science and technology and innovation and looking forward. That's how we're going to connect to the millennials. That's how we're going to connect to Latinos. And that's how we're not just going to win the nomination, we're going to win the election and win the future for the American people.
It's nice to have the opportunity to speak with you, Governor. You listed a lot of things off there, so I hope you come back, answer some more questions from our viewers as well.
I'd love to, Jenna. Thank you.
That new grandchild of yours, is she a Republican? Have you figured that out?
She will be.
She's 2 weeks old, is that right?
2 weeks old. She's clearly leaning that way.
She's doing her early research. Governor, it's great to have you on set. Thank you very much.